So actually what I'm doing in these sessions is just going over really Israel's top 20 and trying to understand what I'm hearing and what can I tell you from that a little bit about Israeli society. So what we're going to talk about today is escapism, right? Which is really, I think, not a very novel idea, right? When we're talking about music, especially pop music, it's for sure something that's not about being very, right, heavy-weighted or something that's very political or something that's very, you know, you don't really hear a lot of pop music that talks about, you know, resisting or protesting, right? It's sometimes rock music is a little bit more about that. But I think because of that, when you hear these kind of moments where you can see the almost like parts of reality kind of coming into light in a pop song, that's very interesting to me. And I think pop songs are very, very, very powerful, right? They really reach millions of people and they do have an influence on our consciousness. So I really think that looking into pop music is always interesting. So some of the things are taken from, like, everything was a hit in Israel, and you can look online, you can look on YouTube and see there are like millions of views. And let's see what it says about Israel. So when I talk about escapism, sorry, it's really about living in a very tumultuous place. Really, Israel is tumultuous. And I'll tell you a little story about that. When I was attending rabbinical school in Jerusalem, we had American students that were also learning to be rabbis. And I remember at the end of the year, really around like May, they were going back to the States. And I was sitting with two of them that became my friends. And we were like talking, what are you going to do this summer? And I told them, and they had all kinds of plans, wonderful plans. And I told them, I don't know, who knows what's gonna happen this summer? And they looked at me and they said, no, you're exaggerating. You can know what will happen this summer. You can predict what's going to be. And I told them, no, not really. And when really the Tzuk Eitan war started, I don't know how it's called in English, maybe Julie, the 2014 war in Gaza started, I wrote to them and I told them, remember what I told you, that summer can be unpredictable, that we really don't know. And I think this kind of mentality that something is not very stable and things can happen, bad things, also good things, of course, but things that really affect your life is something that I can see in some of the music I picked out for you today. So I think what really happens in Israel is interesting because, you know, there is the World Happiness Report. It comes out every year. And I don't know, I would have done, like, if we were in a classroom, I would have asked you, what do you think? Like, there are, I don't know, 250 countries. Where would you put Israel? So maybe you want to answer in the chat. I don't know. What do you know, gamble. What do you think? Write it down. So Julie, do we have answers?
Yeah, we have a few answers. Someone says way above the US, high, number 15, number 1.
Oh.
About 10th, very high.
Okay, wow. Okay, so you're right on the money because really we are right now for 2019. So we're on the 13th place. We used to be 11. So really, it's almost very high. The United States is 19, which is interesting. And the first place is Finland. Yeah, makes sense. So really, and there's always, you know, people talk about why is that the state in Israel? Why people are really, they report that they are happy here. So people talk about, you know, because it's a close-knit country. In many ways, it's very communal, it's very familial, really. And it helps, it helps you be happier. And they really kind of say, it's not about really being sometimes in a war zone or being in a place where, politically is tumultuous. And, we had like 3 elections in the past year, right? So it's not extremely stable. But they say that the people make it, like your experience is based on people. So there are many theories. But really in the music, I see something that I think contributes to it in a kind of a complex way. Because right now, I will try to prove to you that the music is all about having fun. And having fun is not about being critical. Like you're supposed to just have fun. And there's actually a verb in Hebrew that I really love that doesn't exist in English. I think it's from Yiddish. It's called lefargen. Lefargen is to focus on the good things for someone else, okay? So you're like, someone is doing something good, even though there's also something a little bit fishy maybe about it. No, focus on the good, okay? So that's kind of a very Israeli thing to do. Don't look at what maybe needs fixing, but look at what's good, what's going on. That's good. That's when we're having fun, when we're together. So really, I want to start with one song that says that talks about just dancing, and it's all about רק רוצה לרקוד, which is I just want to dance, right? And these are really 2 of the most famous and most successful singers in Israel, Moshe Peretz and Omer Adam. And they created this really fun song together. And Julie will send you the lyrics, so please take a look at them so you'll understand what's going on. And try to understand, like, what are they talking about? Okay, so let's start sharing.
משה אומר, אני רוצה לרקוד.
אין לנו זמן, שחור או לבן, שנה את הגישה, היא אומרת נצא למרדף, מקצב מטורף, רואה את החיים קצת אחרת.
עזוב חתונה, שמלה לבנה, חבל לה על הכסף, עם כל הכבוד
ויש לה כבוד,
היא רק רוצה לרקוד.
אין מה לעשות איתה, היא רק רוצה לרקוד. איפה לא תיקח אותה, היא רק רוצה לרקוד. דמי החוף של מיקונוס, עד החוף של מוש,
עליה לבן, תחשוב על מחר, היא רק רוצה לרקוד. תיקח הלוואה, תקנה לה דירה,
זה לא מעניין, היא אומרת
שגרה זה פסה, אז אל תנסה
להיות כמו כולם היא אחרת. יש פעם אחת, חיים פעם אחת, זה לא חוזר היוני. תן לה כבוד, היא פיצחה את הכל, היא רק רוצה לרקוד. אין מה לעשות איתה, היא רק רוצה לרקוד. איפה לא תיקח אותה, היא רק רוצה לרקוד.
מהחוף של מיקונוס עד החוף של מוש,
עליה לבן, תחשוב על מחר, היא רק רוצה לרקוד. אין מה לעשות איתה, היא רק רוצה לרקוד. איפה לא תיקח אותה, היא רק רוצה לרקוד. מהחוף של מיקונוס עד החוף של מוש, היא רק רוצה לרקוד.
זה עושה אותה סקסית, עושה אותה יפה, עוצם את העיניים, רוקדת יחפה.
עושה אותה סקסית, עושה אותה יפה, עוצם את העיניים, רוקדת יחפה. רק לרקוד, רק לרקוד, רק לרקוד.
Okay, so did you get that? Did you hear that okay? Yeah? Okay, great. So really, it's kind of a Celtic music, right? I was kind of trying to understand what the inspirations are. But really, what's the story here, right? The story is about a woman, a girl, I don't know, that just wants to dance. But it's really about what's important in life, right? So she doesn't want an apartment. She doesn't want to take a mortgage. We're only living once. And that's what you need to do. And she dances from Mykonos to Eilat, right? From Greece to Eilat, which is kind of a party town, I guess, can be in Israel. And like a vacation spot in the south of Israel. And it's really all about, right now. And I think that understanding, that kind of the conversation I had with my friends I told you about, it's really about that, right? That you have to live now. You have to really be ready for anything, because anything can happen, but it makes now much more important, okay? And I think really this it's really very fluff music, and it's fun, and it's danceable and everything, and it's really about that. It's really about being really in the now. And I think we had like, how many views it had? Right now, 21 million, right? So it's really a hit, and it's really about that. And okay, right now, do you have any questions or something you would like to add before I continue? You're welcome to either raise your hand and Julie can unmute you, or or just in the chat. So, okay. So the next thing I'm going to show you is a duo that really, I know some of you told us, like in the first class, that you teach, Sunday school, Hebrew school, doesn't matter. And it's really something that if you're in Sunday school, you know it. So you have, Julia is also sending the links just so you can play it on your own computer if you want. So it's called Silsulim, trills really. A trill is a part of Arab music. And it's about the way you use your voice, right? To kind of make the sound prettier, or the word prettier. So they are kind of a duo of a singer that sings a little bit more inspired by Arab music, called Ben El. And the other one is kind of a hip hop guy, and he's doing kind of, a little bit of rapping, I guess you can say. And together they really exploded a few years ago in Israel. They became really like a hit very, very quickly. And because they're doing, I think they really represent the zeitgeist, that's the way we say it, the mood of the hour. And really what they do is create something that's a lot of fun, but in their songs, you can finally, I think, see also what people are dealing with. And like I said, right, in a song about what we just heard, the song about I just want to dance and she just wants to dance, and to talk about a mortgage, right? To talk about loans, to talk about apartments, right? It's really something that you're saying, how come? How did that happen? And the thing is that really problems of getting by, of making money, of finding work, is really something that keeps coming up. Like when I was trying to pick up the songs, I heard a lot of songs talking about that, talking about a difficult economic situation, which is interesting, right? Because when we think about Israel, sometimes we think about, startup country and all that, startup nation, right? These ideas, and these startup people are making a lot of money. But the thing is that in Israel, really, we are #1 in the world, unfortunately, not in happiness, but in economic kituv, Julie, like the
disparity.
Right, exactly, thank you. So really, we are #1 in the world, and you can see that because like 30% of people are beyond the poverty line. So we really see a lot of that. And in the songs that are hits, you can hear a little bit of that. So we're going to listen really to a huge hit right now called Trills, and we'll talk later. You'll see there's a visa there. It's amazing. Okay, I'm sharing.
אין לנו איביזה, אין הרבה בוויזה, אבל יש את הברית
של אילת והכנרת. אז אם אתה מרגיש שחם, תתארגן על אוטו ועל בגד ים. אין עוד קיץ כזה במדינה אחרת.
אז בוא נשים את כל הבעיות בצד, ביחד נלמד אותם אחד אחד, שמה שמדבר אל הישראלים זה בסה עם סלסולים. פותחים נכון, המקום הכי חם במזרח התיכון. מדינה קטנה, סתכלו סביב, יש ביג בלאגן בתל אביב.
חולים על מעולים
ועפים איך שהביט נכנס,
הקצב של הבאסים
יחסה לך בראש קרקס.
ועד מתי באמצע המדבר לא צריך עוד שום דבר, אז אני שם. אין לנו איביזה, אין הרבה בוויזה, אבל יש את הבריזה של אילת והכנרת.
אז אם אתה מרגיש שחם,
תתארגן על אוטו ועל בגד ים. אין עוד קיץ כזה במדינה אחרת.
אז בוא נשים את כל הבעיות בצד, ביחד נלמד אותם אחד אחד, שמה שמדבר אל הישראלים זה בסה עם סלסולים.
הבנות פה, אין על הבנות פה, כל אחת בצבע, בוא נראה את השזופות פה. כמה זה שותות פה, כמה הן שותות פה, עולות המעלות, אז הבנות עולות לאוטו. מהחול של הנגב ועד החרמון,
ככה זה בארץ, ככה זה בציון.
כל שבת בדשא על האצטדיון,
ככה זה בארץ, ככה זה בציון. אלכוהול מרוסיה, אוכל מרוקאי, כינור אשכנזים, טיפה טינה ניי ניי. גם אם מבחוץ זה נראה על הפנים, וואלק לא מתלוננים, גם אם
אין לנו איביזה, אין הרבה בוויזה, אבל יש את הבריזה של אילת והכנרת.
אז אם אתה מרגיש שחם,
תתארגן על אוטו ועל בגד ים. אין עוד קיץ כזה במדינה אחרת.
אז בוא נשים את כל הבעיות בצד, ביחד נלמד אותם אחד אחד, שמה שמדבר אל הישראלים זה בסה עם סלסולים.
מעולה, מעולה.
Okay. So this is really, I hope you noticed the little things. First of all, even the video itself, right? The music video itself, you can see that it was done right in one shot, tried most of it to be in one shot, and everything was kind of made up, right? They didn't have like a real barbecue. They didn't have like, I think they chose like an artistic way to show that it's not about the money, right? It's about being together, it's about singing, it's about feeling good. And even they talked about how are you spending your time, right? So we don't have Ibiza, right? Like in Spain, but we don't have a lot of money, right? In our visa, right? What do we have? We have the breeze, right? We have the wind from the beach, from the sea. That's right. Breeza in Hebrew is just like the wind from the sea. And it's really something that you don't pay for, right? And when you're hot, and Israel is pretty hot a lot of the year, what do? You just go to the beach, right? And it's free. You can go to the beach. So really what they're depicting here is a way of life that's for them is very Israeli, and that's really the way it should be, right? because one of the things that they said, we don't complain, right? Sometimes things look dreary here, but we don't complain. And I think this idea of not complaining, we're going to see again in our next song. And it's something that really conveys, I think, the way criticism and critical people are viewed now in Israel, which is something that you don't need to do. Because when you do, you hurt the unity of Israel. And I think it's something that can be a little bit problematic, right? We need also criticism. We need that part of our society. We need civic society that's awake and wants to change what's wrong. But really, you can see these messages again and again that life is fun. Let's not ruin it with complaining. Let's not ruin it with too much reality. Okay? Again, if you have any questions or something, just write to us so I can...
Yeah, Efrat, there's a couple of questions I sent you in the chat box.
What?
I sent you a couple of questions in the chat.
You sent it to me. Oh, so someone said that from Art, in the music video, it seems that the kids are somewhat conservatively dressed compared to the US. Is that changing, or is this a certain amount of... Actually, when you see the way women dress in the music videos, you wouldn't have said that. I think, unfortunately, but I think, yeah, the boys are a little bit more, the men are more conservative in the way they dress. That's interesting, actually. And from Jeffrey, perhaps I could comment on the blatant sexism in this video. Yeah, a little bit, for sure. Yeah. As I said, I don't know if Jeffrey was with us last time, but I talked about the way a lot of things that are happening right now in Israel are really kind of hurting the status of women in general in Israel. And you can see that also, in the narratives of pop music, of pop culture in general. Yes, there is that, definitely. And I think people think about it here as something that's not too bad. You don't need to make too much fuss of it, right? Something like that. It's just for fun. It's just humor. Yeah, but I agree. So what are we going to hear next? So we heard one song by Hanan Ben-Ari already. He was the one singing about, to God, what do you want from me, right? But actually his first hit was called Strawberries, right? Our life is strawberries. And in Hebrew, it really works because it means our life are sweet as honey, okay? So it's really like a very good thing. But this song, I think he really meant what he's saying. He's saying, things are difficult, but, we can't complain. And I want you to see, and again, I'm telling you, this was a huge, huge hit in Israel, something that's very, very interesting to see. Okay, so I'm going to share.
זכות בכלל להתלונן, הכל תפוחמסה וברוך השם, כי החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים. שעות של תור בדואר, קשה לגמור פה תואר, והמצב בנוער, קשה לשיר כמו זוהר, להתעורר בבוקר, להיכנס לכושר, הדלק שוב ביוקר, והמוזה היא בעוצר, שחיתות בכל שבועיים, פיגוע כל יומיים, הארנונה בשמיים, והטסט בירושלים, כשבא לבית נושה, וגם הבוס נוקשה, אז הפכתי למורשה, לא הכל פרר ורושה, אבל אין לנו זכות בכלל להתלונן, הכל תפוחמסה וברוך השם, כי החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו, היידה. אישה לא די לה, קונה כל מה שבא לה, קשה לשאוף למעלה, קשה לסגור את החודש, קשה לדבוק בקודש, חיים שלמים בלי שורש, אין ערק ויש יורש, הסוללה עוזלת והתקרה נוזלת, המדינה גוזלת והממשלה פוזלת, שוטף פלוס 60, העומס בכבישים, קשה עם המיסים וכולנו אדישים, אז אין לנו זכות בכלל להתלונן, הכל צפוחמסה וברוך השם, כי החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו. טוב, פתחנו פג'ורה, קיטרנו מספיק, כפינו טובה, עכשיו נחזור אחורה אל הבסיס, זמן לומר תודה. תודה, תודה על הרוח, תודה שאין לי זמן לנוח, תודה, תודה על השבת, תודה על שני בנים ובת, תודה, תודה על כל היופי, תודה על הזכות לראות את מסי, תודה על התיקון, על המהות, תודה, תודה על הילדות, תודה על כל אין לנו זכות בכלל להתלונן, הכל צפוחמסה וברוך השם, כי החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו.
So really, I'm very curious to hear from you what you're thinking about this song, because I think it's also very interesting in the way. 1 second, still playing. Yeah. In the way it kind of says, okay, so we don't have even the right to complain, right? Did you notice that there was like, it's different than before, not just, we shouldn't. We don't have the right to complain. And then, of course, he complains, right? But in a way that's kind of, I think he's being very serious in saying, I don't have the right, we don't have the right to complain. But my wife said, no, he can't be serious, right? He's complaining the entire time. So how can it be? But I think it's really a state of mind, the way he opened. He says everything is Baruch Hashem and everything is for the best. Right? So when something bad happens, that's what you say. That's how you're supposed to take it. And if you're complaining, right, like he did for almost the entire song, so it's a problem, right? And look how he ended the song, right? He says, okay, thank you for this, thank you for that, which is really beautiful, right? Spiritually, right? When we know that one of the best medicines and the best ways to live life is through gratitude. We know that, right? It's been proven. But I think in this song, he really succeeds in conveying this kind of complex idea that you are always complaining, but you don't have the right to complain. You really should shut up, but we have to let it out. And I think it's a very interesting balance. And you can see also, in regard to what Jeffrey said, it's pretty sexist, right? When he's talking about us, he's really talking about men, right? Because he's saying, what about the wife, right? She's unbearable. She's just shopping, right? So the experience of us is really a very male experience or a man's experience in Israel. So that's something that's worth also, I think, noting. But really, he took something, and I think in a pop song, I think what wins is the chorus, right? The chorus is הפזמון, נכון? Okay, so the chorus, because what does he say in the chorus? He says, our life is great. Our life are great. Our life is the best, really. Everything is like sweet as honey, okay? Or beautiful as roses. I don't know how to translate this strawberries thing. And I think it's interesting to see.
Someone referenced the phrase in English, life is a bowl of cherries.
I'll take that. That sounds great. Exactly. So So really, it's something that you can see the way people are really struggling with this consciousness of how am I supposed to deal with all these things, right? The traffic and what's going on in the post office, and what's really, he was really talking about a lot of things, okay? About corruption, right? We know that the prime minister is supposed to be brought to justice, right? For corruption charges. So these things are really happening, right? Okay, so our next song, again, if you want to write to me, please do. Our next song is by Stéphane Legar. Stéphane Legar is a son of 2 migrant workers from Togo, and he's a dancer. And you actually maybe had a glimpse of him in the Trills Sulim video clip. And he did a little bit of a parody. And I think the question that was interesting to me, and that's why I chose this song, is how can you really complain in Israel, okay? So look at what he did. And of course, you need to notice the music. Like for the entire time that we've been together, we heard only very happy, right? And upbeat songs only. And that's not a coincidence, okay? It's all about having fun. It's all about through this, the music just takes you, and then maybe you can say something else or try not to say it. Okay, so we're going to hear a song. So he's really his native tongue is French. So he sings also Comme ci, comme ça, which is the translation, didn't get it exactly right. Comme ci, comme ça in French is just so-so, okay? So things are so-so, and that's the name of the song also, Comme ci, comme ça, okay.
C'est Stéphane le gars, let's get it. Israël est magnifique, mais un peu problème.
Sorry, I'll just fix that. Okay, let's start again.
C'est Stéphane le gars, let's get it. Israël est magnifique, mais un peu problématique. Chez nous on disait m'aspic, comme si comme ça c'est un trick. Par exemple sur Tel Aviv y'a tout de tout sans déconner, mais c'est toujours pas parfait. Attends je vais tout expliquer. Hey, Katimbe en Richard, vacances au ski sur le Herman, les mademoiselles en Israël, là oulala, Avalani Moussim. Comme si, comme ça, comme c'est, comme c'est, comme ça, comme si, comme ça, comme c'est, comme c'est, comme ça, comme si, comme ça, comme c'est, comme c'est, comme ça, comme si, comme ça, comme si, comme ça. Oh, les gens stressés, ça travaille toujours, sont tous occupés mais débordent partout. Tous s'éparpillent et tous se salient, même les avocats ici sont endormis. Je marche dans la rue, tout le monde est différent. Les gens qui s'expliquent comme des petits enfants, ils veulent tous la paix mais même pas le temps. La totale chic chez la Paris, Afar Kanim, Amir Rachid, les mademoiselles en Israël, là oulala, oulala, oulala. Comme si, comme ça, comme c'est, comme c'est, comme ça, comme si, comme ça, comme c'est, comme c'est, comme ça, comme si, comme ça, comme c'est, comme c'est, comme ça, comme si, comme ça, comme si, comme ça. Tout le monde à gauche, à droite, j'ai dit à gauche, maintenant à droite. Let's get it. La politique comme ci, comme ça, la panassa comme ci, comme ça, les pires sont morts comme ci, comme ça, alcool comme ci, comme ça, éducation comme ci, comme ça, formation comme ci, comme ça, la précision comme ci, comme ça, comme ci, comme ça, comme ci, comme ça. Comme si
Okay, so really, yeah, he's great, right? He's an amazing dancer, and I think he writes his own songs, and it's really all about his point of view, which is really special. Like, you should really watch more things by him if you want, of course. So really, so how did he complain here, right? So everything was done with a smile, everything was done with humor, and everything was done with this upbeat, very, very kind of music that takes you, and I think he really did an important job there. If you read interviews with Stefan Legar, so you can see that he talks about racism that he encounters in Israel, and you can see that he talks about also, you know, because migrant workers in Israel, their status is not that easy, and there isn't like it's not, you're not being naturalized even if you were born in Israel, like the kids of migrant workers. So he's been dealing with that also, but he also went to high school here, and he speaks Hebrew, right? He sang in French, but he speaks Hebrew. He has songs that he sings in Hebrew, and he's really just saying, you know, I am a part of Israeli society. So I think really kind of took, again, we heard about the traffic, right? We heard about corruption. We heard about all these things. But what do you hear really? You hear the music, you hear Comme ci, comme ça, which is okay, you know, it's fine. It's not bad, right? It's so you can deal with it, you can live with it. Okay, so we're about to hear our last song of really the entire session and everything. And I actually made you a playlist with all the songs from the three sessions we've had. Julie is just sending it to you right now. It's on Spotify. I hope it's available for everyone. I think it is. And I also added some you know, some additions, some good additions, some things that maybe you'll be interested in. And maybe if I had to pick one song from an artist, so I chose some more. And so it's not that many, but I think it gives you a nice picture, and I hope you will enjoy it. And I wanted to finish with something a bit different, but maybe not really. So we in the first time we met, we talked about languages, right? How in Israel there are a lot of languages, and people, 41% of the people, like Hebrew is their second language. And I wanted to end with a song that also speaks English and Hebrew and Arabic. This song is called The Song of the Mothers. It's by an artist called Yael Deckelbaum. And also notice we didn't have a woman artist today because, yes, you know, the hits right now most of them are not by Israeli women, unfortunately. And she wrote this song as part of a movement called Women Wage Peace. This movement is really non-political. It brings together Palestinian women, you know, Palestinian Israeli, Palestinian women, and Jewish Israeli women. And also women who are, you know, we talked a little bit about religious, secular, this entire people are traditional. So it really brings together a lot of people, right wing, left wing, and it's really all about women demanding that there will be talks for peace. And this movement is inspired by a movement by the same name that really ended the civil war in Liberia. And the woman who was leading the movement became the first woman president of Liberia. So really, and she speaks in the video, you'll see it. So Yael Deckelbaum is a wonderful, wonderful artist. You're really, I mean, I encourage you to check her name and to see her music. And she's also kind of trying to create, I think, she's trying to create change. She's trying to complain, but again, in a very positive way. And her positive way is saying, I don't want reality, you know, I don't want to ignore reality. I want to bring it in. And she created, I think, a very inspiring song. That's really, for me, it's always very emotional, and it's just beautiful musically, which is also extremely important. And so I hope you'll enjoy it, and we'll meet here afterwards, and I'll say goodbye. So here is a prayer of the mothers, not Song of the Mothers, prayer of the mothers.
רכישת רוח ים מנשבת מאי שם וכביסה מתנפנפת לצילי החומה بين الأرض والسماء ناس كتير بعيشوا سوا ما تخافوا تحلموا بالسلام والأمان متى يمسوا خمات بخار ושבתי מגלותי יפתחו שעריי אל הטוב האמיתי
alongside your Palestinian sisters. I want to thank you and to let you know that in the world that we live in, peace is possible only when women of integrity and faith stand up for the future of their children. Congratulations. It is my hope that you will continue to battle for peace in a constructive way, and I look forward to the day that I will come and join you. Thank you for the children of Israel. Thank you for the children of Palestine. Thank you. Peace. Shalom.
From the north to the south, from the west to the east, hear the prayer of the mothers. Bring them peace, bring them peace. From the north to the south, from the west to the east.
Okay. I hope you liked it. And it's really about taking, again, calling for social change, but doing it in a very interesting way through music and through connecting languages and connecting, realities, which I think is wonderful. And again, Yael Deckelbaum really performed this song all over the world because it resonates with so many people. So thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much, Julie. You're the best. And I hope you'll have a wonderful summer.